Yes.
And if you use an analogy in the business world, like a printing factory, a print shop, perhaps it's more, I don't know, easier to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have, in all of our conversations, Eric, we've talked about reforming the system, sort of stepping back
Yes.
from partisan gridlock and supporting this party or that party, but looking at the system in a way that will have people working together again.
Yeah.
And isn't that what we want? We want,
Yes.
to be nostalgic for, I don't know, the 70s when, when was Ruth Bader Ginsburg, 97% of a partisan Senate voted for her.
Right. Right.
Because it was different. It was just so different.
Yeah, it was a different climate.
I don't want to go nostalgic like
Sure.
Shining City on the Hill. It was wonderful then. It wasn't. But what's happening now is just very disturbing.
It is. Yeah, and there's a lot of great explanations. I would commend to anyone who's listening. There was an article came out 2 weeks ago in the Atlantic called "Why the Past Decade in America Has Been Uniquely Stupid."
Where was this article?
In the Atlantic.
Okay.
And it's Jonathan Haidt, who's an amazing social psychologist. He's a professor of ethical leadership at NYU. Admittedly, he's a progressive, but one of the reasons I really like him as an independent who doesn't identify as a conservative or a progressive, he is an equal opportunity critiquer. And
I love it.
And this article talks about social media pouring gas on the fire of this partisan extremism, but that there is structural stupidity baked into our two-party system.
Yes.
We have allowed the two major parties to write all the rules in such a way that they keep out competition and they try to maintain power and control at all costs. And he talks about so if there is structural stupidity, what can we do about it? And he highlights Alaska as a model for the country to follow. And for those of you who don't know, Alaska has adopted a top 4 open primary and ranked choice voting, which is the same system we are working so hard to bring here to Missouri.
Right. So in the primary, there's one primary.
There's one primary.
And all of the parties are, so you as a voter do not have to declare your party allegiance and get 2 different ballots.
Right.
You just have one ballot in the primary, and everybody votes for the whole potential candidates.
Yes, for the entire list for state and federal elections. So you no longer get asked, do you want the Republican ballot or do you want the Democratic ballot? That question offends me as an independent, unaffiliated voter. That's my ballot. It doesn't belong to the parties. It belongs to we the people.
Right.
And that's why sometimes an open primary is referred to as a people's primary. The people control
I like that.
Who gets on the list.
Good nomenclature. I like that.
Thanks.
The people's primary. So that should be a people's primary. Sign up for the people's primary. So you're running around having people sign petitions. Is that the action taken right now?
That is the action being taken right now, and we will be turning in 170,000 signatures in Jeff City on Mother's Day.
Oh, Sunday though.
Mother's Day Sunday. That's a big wah 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 wah. That it happens to fall on Mother's Day. Because it just makes it harder to get people there. We want as many people to come to Jefferson City on Sunday, May 8th. There will be a big press conference and a rally as we lug the boxes of petitions
how great.
And get better elections on the ballot for November.
That is so fantastic.
Yeah.
So fantastic. What a way to honor your mother.
That's one way of looking at it.
Welcome to the Cryptocurrency Odyssey Show. The Cryptocurrency Odyssey Show highlights the latest news on cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, disruptive technology, economics, and world events. They interview top thinkers and entrepreneurs in the industry, and they cover topics like Bitcoin, technology developments, investing, trading, and ICOs. As our world keeps getting more and more digital, cryptocurrencies are changing along with it. Okay, audience, here's the host of Cryptocurrency Odyssey, Matt Leach.
Hi, listeners. Welcome back. Today's show is about DeFi and Bitcoin and what it means to you. Now, we're going to talk about the intricacies of these two currencies and get us all more educated about it. So listen up. And my co-host today is Mike Grimes. He'll be helping me educate all of us about this. Hi, Mike.
How are you, Matt?
Doing pretty good. It's great to see you back here again. Now, here's a quick description of DeFi and how it works with Bitcoin, just to kind of clarify this. It seems to be less technical. I'm trying to make it less technical anyway. So without turning this into a big discussion, the show today is a modified explanation of the current state of the DeFi industry and Bitcoin. Well, we've adapted it and augmented the content because our listeners have asked for more information about DeFi. Today we'll have a look at how, as a user of DeFi, cryptocurrency could be an economic path to freedom for you. And then a quick review of Bitcoin to start off with. Everybody's pretty familiar with that. It's a pioneering digital currency. Early development on Bitcoin began in 2008 during the financial crisis, and the paper was titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, being released on October 31st of 2008. Now, Bitcoin is often called digital gold for its monetary properties, which are similar to gold. The enduring popularity and market resilience of Bitcoin has encouraged the growth of other cryptocurrencies. So as a result, we now have about 17,000 different cryptocurrencies. We have DeFi wallets, which are non-custodial wallets that store your cryptocurrency assets. They are non-custodial, meaning that only those with a seed phrase or private key, which is the equivalent of a password, can access your funds. So without any more ado, let's talk with Mike about his stake in DeFi and Bitcoin and how that relates to the cryptocurrency market. So now that we've got all that up in the open, Mike, can you tell us about the cycles and paradigm shifts in the economy that affect Bitcoin?
Yeah, Matt, it's kind of a paradigm as defined by Ray Dalio, is a period of time which markets and market relationships operate in a certain way that most people adapt to and eventually extrapolate. A paradigm shift occurs when the relationships are overdone, resulting in markets that operate more opposite than similar to how they operated during the prior paradigm. Prior to 2008, there were 4 such paradigm shifts, each identified by a material change in the Federal Reserve Board's monetary policy framework in response to unsustainable debt growth. In 2008, we saw the 5th and most recent paradigm shift when former Fed Chair Ben Bernanke introduced quantitative easing in response to the Great Recession. Since then, the Fed has been operating in uncharted territories, launching multiple rounds of already unconventional monetary policy with detrimental outcomes. A significant and painful consequence of the past 5 paradigm shifts has been the devaluation of the U.S. dollar. Since the first shift in 1933, the dollar has lost 99% of its value against gold.
Okay. What are the different paradigm shifts that like Ben Bernanke? What was he doing? You were talking about the debt was so high, and it's so high today. So what?
Well, and as we'll get into this, it's really the reason I think today's show is so important is Bitcoin's there. It's a store of value. It's available to these countries to make as their reserve current, as their actual currency. But how did it get there? I mean, what happened to cause it to be there is the whole point. And I think what you're going to find, and one of the reasons I'm going to attempt to explain this morning, is these shifts in the economic economy out there caused Bitcoin to become a choice. And I think you'll see as we speak here, or as we present this morning, Bitcoin didn't just show up in 2008 because it's Bitcoin. There was substantial changes in these paradigm shifts of financially operating this country that caused Bitcoin to be a solution. And that's why it's becoming more and more of a solution.
Okay. Actually, I've got an article here about the main features of Bitcoin and how to use cryptocurrency. It says, if you're a beginner looking for an introduction to the world of cryptocurrencies, the main features of Bitcoin are the decentralized nature of the currency and its network of computers. The technology behind Bitcoin is based on a decentralized network of computers, or a blockchain is what it's called, which is a distributed ledger that allows users to conduct transactions without involving any central point. So that means that any information entered into the network will be protected against third-party fraud. Now, when they talk about a central point, that's a bank or an institution, a money institution anyway. Now, Bitcoins are held in digital wallets where the user stores their private keys, and to prevent counterfeiting, a digital signature called a public encryption key is used to verify transactions. So that makes each Bitcoin recognizable throughout the network. They're labeled kind of like with a serial number, so if anyone does steal them, they can't use it. And so that's one of the advantages of that. Now, back to our story here. There again, Ben Bernanke was talking a lot about the debt, and that was the reason for him to do what he did. So, how does debt's role in the business cycle affect the economy?
A business cycle refers to the reoccurrent sequence of increases and decreases in the economic activity over time. The four stages of a business cycle include expansion, peak, contraction, and trough. The expansionary phase is characterized by improving economic conditions, rising consumer confidence, and declining interest rates. As growth accelerates and the supply of credit expands, borrowers are incentivized to take on leverage to fund asset purchases. However, as the economy reaches the later years of the cycle, inflation tends to increase and asset bubbles are formed. Peak economic conditions can be sustained for years, but eventually growth turns negative, leading to a contraction of the phase of the cycle. The severity and the length of the downtrends can vary from a mild recession lasting 6 months to a depression that lasts for years. The amount of debt accumulated during the expansionary phase of the business cycle plays a vital role in how policymakers react to economic crises. Historically, the Fed navigated most recessions by relying on its free money policy tool, on these three money policy tools: open market operations, the discount rate, and reserve requirements. However, they introduced a new monetary policy framework, making the end of one paradigm and the beginning of another the so-called paradigm shift.
Okay, so the four stages of a business cycle include expansion, peak, contraction, and trough. What stage do you think we would be in right now with the cryptocurrency boom type of thing?
I think you'll see it later on. We're in probably the worst financial condition we've ever been in this country.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is what do we do from here? But let's proceed with this, and I think we'll answer that question.
Okay. So, we're using 2008 as a I guess, a yardstick for the paradigm shifts. So, yeah, and I know we're talking about today's economy, but what paradigm shifts have had historical effects?
Well, the first paradigm shift occurred in 1933 during the Great Depression when President Franklin D. Roosevelt suspended the convertibility of the dollars to gold, effectively abandoning the gold standard. Severing the dollars linked to gold allowed the Fed to increase the money supply without constraint to stimulate the economy. Following years of global central bank funding their country's military efforts in World War II, the monetary system experienced another paradigm shift in 1945 with the signing of the Bretton Woods Agreement, which introduced the dollar's peg to gold. Reverting to the gold standard led to near than 15 years of mostly prosperous times for the U.S. economy. Nominal gross domestic product averaged 6%, while inflation remained muted around 3.5%, despite very accommodative interest rates. However, the government spending picked up in the 1960s to support social spending programs and to fund the Vietnam War. Before long, the government found itself saddled again with too much debt, rising inflation, and a growing fiscal deficit. On the evening of August 15, 1971, Richard Nixon announced that he would close the gold window, ending dollar convertibility to gold, an explicit default on its debt obligations. In order to curb inflation and prevent foreign nations from retrieving any gold that was still owed to them, Nixon's announcement officially marked the end of the gold standard and the tradition to a purely fiat-based monetary system. Like in the 1930s, abandoning the gold standard allowed the Fed to increase money supply at will. The expansion policies that follows fueled one of the strongest inflation periods in history. With inflation exceeding 10% by 1979, the then Fed chair, Paul Volcker, made a surprise announcement that the Fed would begin managing the volume of banks' reserves in the financial system, as opposed to specifically targeting the money supply growth rate and the daily funds rate. He warned that changes in the policy would allow interest rates to have substantial freedom in the market, subjecting to more fluctuations. The federal funds rate subsequently began to increase and eventually exceeded 19%, sending the economy into a recession. Volcker's policy change and the reset of interest rates to an all-time high marked the end of the 40 years of the rising interest rate environment.
You know, listening to you talk about these paradigms and everything, it looks like we're just in a big cycle that we get it under control, and then all of a sudden the spending, I guess is what it is, gets out of control, and so here we are. We're back today where we've got 31 trillion of debt.
Yeah, and I think as you understand the background of this whole process of Bitcoin showing up, it's been the problem, the debt increase, the movement into this unfettered offering of debt to solve things, whatever they are, like 33 billion going to Ukraine when you don't have it and you have structural deficits built into it. It calls for then what's another way to do this? And that's where Bitcoins come from.
So when they throw 33 billion, that just means basically they're printing more money.
And that's all they're doing because there's no constraint of gold. It's just a monetary system that allows to print it for any reason. And that's not what I think is a safe environment.
No, it's not. It keeps getting us into trouble, and nobody seems to really care.
Well,
who cares? You know, I mean, does Congress care about this? I mean, as long as they can throw money at it for their pet projects, they're doing it. You
well,
know?
and that's the problem. It's a kick the stone down the road environment that they've increased the debt ceiling 78 times in a row.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I mean, so my point is, where does it all head to? And I think we have a solution here as we go on today.
As the cryptocurrency solution, basically.
Right.
Okay. Well, audience, want to give you a quick reminder here. You're listening to the Cryptocurrency Odyssey show, airing live weekly on KWRH 92.9 FM on Fridays at 10 a.m. in St. Louis, and nationwide on Zeno FM with your city. You can type in Zeno.fm/Detroit or LA or whatever city you're in, and you'll be able to listen to the show. That's Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. So give it a try. What is the impact of paradigm shifts on the U.S. dollar been? With all these different things happening.
Matt, gold is one of the few commodities that has been used throughout history as both a store of value and as a currency, evidenced by its role in the monetary systems around the world, i.e. the gold standard. Regardless of its physical form, gold is measured by weight and purity. Within the United States, a troy ounce is a standard measure for gold's weight and carats for its purity. Once measured, its value can be quoted in various exchange rates, including one that references the U.S. dollar. With gold having a standard unit of measure, any fluctuations in its exchange rate reflects an increase or decrease in its respective currency's purchasing power. For example, when the purchasing power of the dollar increases, owners of the dollar can buy more units of gold. When the dollar value declines, it can be exchanged for fewer units of gold. With this relationship in mind, when observing gold's historic price chart, the decline in the dollar's purchasing power during historical paradigm shifts becomes obvious. Gold priced in U.S. dollars is available currently, and it's the problem. I think what you're seeing is when you have the financials of the country go negative, like they are, into deficit spending,
Right.
and structured deficits each year, the fallback has been gold. The solution has been gold. But when you look at gold, and it's hard to value, it's hard to carry around, it's hard to deliver on. You can't go to the grocery store and buy a sack of bread for gold.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes a problem. What do we do? If this system, this unfettered debt-using system explodes, where do we go? We can't go to the gold system, and that's why I think what they're saying is the cryptocurrency market could be the solution.
Yes, I think that's right. It brings back memories of those old pictures of Germany after the Second World War, where people were running around with wheelbarrows full of cash to buy like a loaf of bread and some milk for the kids. And one article that I came up with here is the Brazilian Senate has just green-lighted their crypto law project. So I think Brazil is moving over to cryptocurrency, mainly Bitcoin. The Brazilian Senate has green-lighted a cryptocurrency law project that seeks to give more clarity and protect users from different cryptocurrency-related scams that have happened in the country. The project now advances to the Chamber of Deputies, which will be responsible for debating and approving or rejecting this new project. But they're obviously getting away from fiat currency, and they're working towards cryptocurrency, which seems to be the coming paradigm.
No,
I guess.
I think it is the paradigm.
Yes.
But the most recent paradigm shift occurred at the end of 2008 when the Fed introduced the first round of quantitative easing in response to the Great Recession. While rising interest rates and weakness in home prices were the key catalyst for the recession, the seeds were sown long before that, dating back to 2000, when the Fed first began lowering interest rates. Over the following 7 years, the federal funds rate was lowered from 6.5% to a meager 1%, which concurrently drove a $6 trillion increase in home mortgage loans to over $11 trillion. by 2007, household debt had increased from 70% of GDP, a debt burden that proved to be unsustainable as interest rates rose and the economy softened. Like past shifts, the sustainable debt burden was the key factor that ultimately led the Fed to adjust its policy framework. Not surprisingly, the outcome from implementing its new policy was consistent with history, a large increase in the money supply and a 50% devaluation in the value of the dollar against gold. However, this paradigm shift is not unlikely, like any other in history, despite taking unprecedented actions, 4 rounds of quantitative easing totaling $8 trillion of stimulus over the past 14 years, the Fed has not been able to improve its control on the broader economy. Rather, the grip has only weakened while the nation's debt has ballooned. With the national debt now exceeding $30 trillion, or 120% of GDP, a federal deficit nearing $3 trillion, and that takes a little bit of explanation. The accumulated debt is $30 trillion. But when you bring in the money and then spend the money and you're $3 trillion short, that's a deficit spending. So you're increasing your debt automatically by 10% each year. An effective Fed fund rate of 0.33 and 8% inflation, and that might be low, the economy is in the most vulnerable position compared to any other time in history. Let me restate that. This low interest rate environment, high inflation, the economy is in its most vulnerable position compared to any other time in history. That's pretty staggering. Historical precedents will lead to some to believe that a transition back to gold standard is most likely. We just talked about that. While it is entirely possible, another probable and realistic monetary alternative in the digital age is the adoption of a Bitcoin standard. Fundamentally, Bitcoin is a superior monetary good compared to all of its predecessors. As history has shown, in the case of gold, the asset that is the most saleable with the strongest monetary traits and is the one that everybody will converge to. And that's exactly what I think is going to happen. Bitcoin is the hardest form of money the world has ever seen. Some have already realized this, but with time, everybody from individuals to nation states will come to this conclusion. And there it is. We're in the worst position that we've been with this current fiscal policy that we've ever been in history. They're looking now to say, if this explodes, where do we go? The gold standard. That isn't available.
Yeah.
It's not, or if it is available, they would adapt to it. I think what you're seeing these nations do is say, well, let's try Bitcoin. It started in 2008. It's 13 years old. It seems to be getting bigger and stronger. So why don't we try this? And that's what's happening out there, is these weak economies. And the United States isn't supposed to be weak, but it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a driving force now to what's going to work. And I think Bitcoin's going to be looked at. Now, Matt, being a retired financial planner, when you see the result is people are looking to do Bitcoin for these countries, for these people, when you want an alternative, you're looking to do Bitcoin. Remember, there's only 21 million coins out there.
Right.
Bitcoin isn't unfettered debt. They have about 19 million mined. Another 2 million are out there to be mined. And when it's done, it's done. You don't have but 21 million. If all these forces point towards Bitcoin as a solution because of these economic policies we've talked about,
Mm-hmm.
how high could Bitcoin go?
It could get pretty high, I think.
I think that's what you're seeing here. It's all kind of fleshing out, but there isn't any reason to go back to the gold standard. There's a real need with the current financials, this heavy debt, this deficit spending, that people are going to be pointing towards Bitcoin and find that they're going to pay more for it because there's a finite amount of coins out there. And that's why I like Bitcoin.
Now, I find it interesting that as the debt, this unsustainable debt climbed, so did the price of Bitcoin. And so but Bitcoin doesn't always follow the fiat currency price.
And it's all happening. This is history as you watch these financial markets right now. But Matt, Bitcoin has never been around before. It wasn't an option.
Mm-hmm.
But if they go to it, and there's a finite amount of it, and more people go to it, my friend, you might be looking at the lows you're ever going to see in Bitcoin. Because if you don't have it enough, and more people want it, I heard it said this way, and it's pretty. There's 21 million coins total. No more. There's going to be 21.
Correct.
There's 56 million millionaires in this country. How did 56 million people get 21 million coins? They pay more for it. And just understand, that's the advantage here. I think the United States has backed themselves into a corner. Now they can't look at gold, and all of a sudden Bitcoin is the solution. And you're seeing it in El Salvador, you're seeing it in Brazil, you're seeing it in Costa Rica. They're all adopting Bitcoin for other reasons, but as more of these huge needs for Bitcoin come out, you tell me where the price can go to.
$1 million a coin?
I've
You
heard
think it
that.
could get that high?
I've heard that.
And so with 21 million coins, I guess that takes it to what, 2 trillion of Bitcoin at the most. But then again, if the Bitcoin might go to 2 million,
I think it was
Bitcoin.
Warren Buffett just said yesterday, Bitcoin could go to zero.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what we've talked about here is not that case, but Bitcoin is, it's a play. It's in this market. There's a reason it's in this market. And I think as more people realize the reason that it's there, you only have 21 million coins to get it.
Yeah,
And that's a supply issue. You want to buy things that are short in supply, not unfettered national debt.
Right. That's an interesting concept. I don't know how that's going to work out. I guess nobody really does.
I think that's why we do these radio shows, because
Yeah,
as it does work out, we'll be here telling you about it.
And we'll be here telling you about it. We're got one more here. We're moving up on break time, but I want to talk about this one. We're always on the lookout for the next big thing in the Bitcoin world, and the DeFi protocol has recently received much attention. Decentralized finance refers to a service that eliminates the need for a middleman when sending money from one location to another. So if you're interested in learning everything there is to know about the DeFi protocol, stick around because we're going to go over everything. And what exactly is DeFi?
Well, DeFi naturally stands for decentralized finance. As the name implies, it's a kind of umbrella phrase for a massive financial infrastructure that emphasizes decentralization. Decentralization, on the other hand, doesn't appear out of nowhere. Rather, it's linked to cryptocurrencies, or more specifically, the blockchain technology that underpins them. DeFi's end goal is to decentralize financial services and replace them with decentralized organizations that allow everybody to participate.
Okay, so the DeFi protocol is for everybody, and we need to, I guess, concentrate on how that works, but that's going to have to wait till after the break. We're coming up on break time. We'd like you to listen to all our ads, respond to them.
Offers these companies services by lowering their electric and natural gas rates. They don't charge for this service, and they've got over 9,500 happy clients with over 1 billion kilowatt therms under contract. What makes them different is their reverse auction. CEC offers a way to have available suppliers in 17 states bid openly for energy business. Why, their mission is clear. bring their clients the low bid for their energy consumption. In fact, because of their competitive auctions, energy consumers would be well advised to consult with CEC first. Why pay more for the exact same power? For more information, contact Mike Grimes, CEO of Commercial Energy Consultants at 1-877-212-1400. That's 877-212-1400.
Hey, listeners, saying thanks to your customers is nice and polite, but expressing your gratitude in memorable and ongoing ways can boost your business. At Promo Experts LLC, we exceed our customers' expectations. For over 20 years, our product knowledge and experience has helped them with their marketing initiatives and trade show graphics. We are happy to put that experience to work for you. Quality products, great customer service, and prices are our #1 priority. We work with you to find unique, creative, and new ideas that fit your image and expectations, helping you build strong relationships with your customers. When you select Promo Experts as your marketing partner, we help you to see more than the big picture. For more information about this exciting opportunity, contact Diane Carson, President, at 636-458-5241. That's 636-458-5241. Let Promo Experts help you to move your business brand beyond the bland.
Attention! Here are 5 things that you can do to avoid coronavirus scams based on the Federal Trade Commission guidelines. Number 1, do not respond to text messages, emails, or calls about checks from the government. The government never sends emails requiring that you do anything. Number 2, ignore online offers for vaccinations and home test kits. Number 3, hang up on robocalls. Scammers are using illegal robocalls to pitch everything from low-priced health insurance to work-at-home schemes. Number 4, watch for emails claiming to be from the CDC or the WHO. Use sites like coronavirus.gov or usa.gov/coronavirus to get the latest information, and don't click on links from sources that you don't know. Number 5, do your homework when it comes to donations. Never donate in cash, by gift card, or by wiring money. For more information to help you be prepared, contact Tony Zifilopoulos. He's a 25-year IT professional with the last 6 years specializing in cybersecurity. Tony is a certified information specialist auditor, and he will review your cybersecurity. Tony can be reached at 314-504-3974. That's 314-504-3974. And email TonyZ@fixvirus.com. His website is www.fixvirus.com.
Have you always wanted to write your own book but don't know where to start? Publishing Concepts, a publishing company located right here in St. Louis, offers everything from consulting, book printing, copyrights, ISBNs and barcodes, print book layout, ebook and iBook layout, graphic design, cover design, ghostwriting, typing and editing, distribution, marketing, and more for an affordable price. Visit publishingconceptsllc.com or just Google Publishing Concepts to get started today, or call 314-781-8880. That's 314-781-8880. Publishing Concepts. We help you sell more books.
Hi, listeners. Break is over. If you're just now joining us, you are listening to the Cryptocurrency Odyssey Show, airing live weekly on KWRH 92.9 on Fridays at 10 a.m. in St. Louis, Missouri, and nationwide on Zeno FM with your city, Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. For more information, you can call me at my office number is 314-781-7612, and that number again is 314-781-7612, or call our 800 number at 877-212-1400. One more time, that's 877-212-1400. And you can also visit our website at ccodweb.us. So take a look at that when you get a chance. Our discussion today is a beginning course for people that want to be educated in the world of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and DeFi. So let's continue talking about that. We left off with Mike and talking about the what exactly was DeFi, and my next question would be, what are the major benefits of decentralized finance?
Before I get into that, Matt, I think it's important to understand where this fits in the equation.
Okay.
Remember, the show we've talked about how do you get involved with the cryptocurrencies. It involves having a wallet. You have to have something like a crypto.com is the one that I use. And of course, listeners can call you. You can get them, links to start wallets. That's not a problem. But you can't do DeFi in a regular wallet.
Right.
You just have a wallet, but you can hook another wallet to your existing wallet. In this case, it's a DeFi wallet. I'll give you an example of Metatask is the one that I use. And I did it because what I want to be able to do is have a wallet with an asset class inside the wallet, a cryptocurrency.
Okay.
And then I want to be able to hook a Metatask wallet to it and do my DeFi transactions in that separate DeFi wallet. So it does involve another wallet, a base wallet, and then a DeFi wallet before we get going. But there are major benefits, and let's get into that. A DeFi movement attempts to provide customers and investors with a variety of incentives. The elimination of intermediaries as well as centralized control are two noteworthy benefits of DeFi. In addition, it would strive to make financial markets more acceptable to institutional investors. DeFi also develops new investment options to take the concept to new heights. DeFi solutions rely heavily on the underlying characteristics associated with the blockchain technologies. I have a list here of what we actually can do. You can earn better interest. You can defer the taxes you're paying. You can do farming in the DeFi wallet. You can swap trade. You can stake. You can become a liquidity provider. And you get access to some of the new cryptos that are being born, all happening in that DeFi space. For effectively analyzing DeFi's potential, it's critical to establish a neutral sense of its benefits and drawbacks. In truth, the vast majority of issues and hazards connected with a DeFi project are essentially due to the technologies involved. First, DeFi initiatives have significant challenges in the scalability of the host blockchain from a variety of angles. Finally, in DeFi-based applications and blockchain technologies, liquidity is unquestionably important, which DeFi struggles with.
Okay, now you mentioned farming in the DeFi wallet. What kind of farming?
Well, it's not farming for corn.
Okay.
It's farming for other Bitcoin, other cryptocurrencies. It's putting an offer out there to swap between cryptocurrencies. And actually, from the way I understand it, it's receiving back for your effort other cryptocurrencies. So you're out there farming to get cryptocurrencies.
Okay, so you would be farming like, I guess use Bitcoin. Can you farm for Bitcoin, or that's
no? It's actually
not actually
Ethereum
DeFi.
Is the blockchain that is
Okay.
90% of the DeFi is done off of the Ethereum blockchain, and what you're doing is you're setting up. It's called a stable coin. You're buying in your wallet a stable coin and transferring it over to your DeFi wallet, and they're using that as the collateral to farm for other cryptocurrencies, to stake against to do swaps with other cryptocurrencies. They're pretty high-level financial transactions. I don't think the beginner is going to be doing DeFi transactions in a DeFi wallet, but you do need to know about these stable coins, because one of the things that people don't like is the volatility of the cryptocurrencies. They go up and down pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a trader, that doesn't bother you, but if you're a long-termer, you want a way to have access here, but not have the volatility. And this stablecoin technologies are designed not to fluctuate hardly at any price. This gives everybody, including average savers or investors who want to avoid the volatility, an opportunity to earn money in ways that were never possible before. Occasionally land one of those moonshot DeFi coins that has the potential to produce lifetime changes. Don't like the volatility? No problem. Stick with stable coins. And finally, earn respectable yields on your money that couldn't beat inflation by a mile. That's the key to this is this industry realizes people aren't going to put their real safe money into a DeFi wallet. But if you buy a stable coin, transfer it over there and have it available for somebody to guide you through these strategies, it doesn't hurt to just sit in the stable coin because you're going to get better interest than you are, let's say, at the bank at this point. So that's why stable coins became available.
Okay. How many stable coins are out there? Is there a number on that?
Dozens I've seen. But you can go in there and Google stable coins and you'll get a good idea what's out there.
Mm-hmm. I know that the USDT was a stable coin, and it was Tether. That's it. Tether they call it Tether because it's tethered to the U.S. dollar.
And it's not available in the United States. They got into some sort of trouble. The Tether's only available in foreign countries.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's an interesting part of Tether. That's a white paper on Tether that I read and found out we don't want to accumulate a lot of this because we can't actually do business with it in the United States.
And why did that happen? Do you know?
Some sort of interaction with the government that the government didn't like, and they restricted them in the United States, but they can operate out of Europe.
Because they were calling it a USDT coin, a USDT United
Not privy
States
to
dollar
the
Tether.
litigation for that matter.
Yeah, interesting. That's so we can't get to it. So that was the one that stuck in my mind because it was just strange to me to
You
have
can get to it, but it's not going to be custodied in the United States.
Right. But
is the issue.
I just thought that having a cryptocurrency that was called a U.S. dollar and then Tether, I thought that was a joke or something.
Well, this is an affront to the banks, obviously, a coin that doesn't fluctuate but gives you a better interest rate. If it ever really got seriously adopted, what would be left at a bank that's paying you less than 1%?
Right.
You put it in a stable coin.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and that's probably why they got in trouble.
Yeah, well, that's probably it. Yeah. Okay, so because of DeFi technologies, what does decentralized finance give us? You already read a few things there, but
Yeah, but blockchain technology is a distributed and secure database or ledger, which is also exploited into cryptocurrencies, is used in decentralized finance. DApps are the applications that conduct transactions and run the blockchain, and the transactions are stored in blocks on the blockchain and subsequently validated by it and other users. If all of the validators agree on a transaction, the block is sealed and encrypted, and a new block is created. Information from the preceding block, a decentralized exchange or DEX, is a cryptocurrency exchange that works without the use of a central authority. Assume you download a DEX app on your phone and make it a little Bitcoin buy. Your trade is then securely kept on a shared tamper-proof digital ledger. The DEX, which is the centralized peer-to-peer network, records each of these sorts of transactions. Coins can be purchased from other users on the same platform. Keep your items and take part in swapping and staking. All of this can be done simply from your Chromebook.
okay. So tax considerations on this, on the DeFi. Here's an article I saw that talks about tax considerations for your brewery when accepting payment via cryptocurrencies. Brewers and other small businesses who accept cryptocurrency as payment for customer goods must be aware of the tax implications of such payments in cryptocurrency. And according to IRS Notice 2014-21, cryptocurrency is treated as property and foreign currency for federal income tax purposes. If a taxpayers use crypto to pay for other property in a business transaction, such as paying for beer or business supplies, the taxpayer must treat the transfer of such currency as a sale of property and recognize gain or loss on the currency's change in value. Now, is that how does that affect the DeFi
Well,
part?
it kind of just affects how you do your taxes. In other words, if you do a crypto wallet in your personal name, you do a DeFi wallet off of it, you hook it to a DeFi wallet, do some of these transactions, you got to be careful. Every time you buy and sell a cryptocurrency, it's reportable for taxes. And it's a real asset, it's not income, to where you're going to pay short-term capital gains on anything less than a year, long-term capital gains on anything over a year. So be careful with doing these cryptocurrency transactions in your personal account if you're not willing to pay the tax bill. Now, this is a throwback to my time as a financial planner. We had a strategy called more money, less taxes. If I was going to do a DeFi wallet, I put it into an IRA account. And so, in other words, I own Bitcoin in my IRA. And if I want to put a Metatask account into my IRA, I can do it. But you have to have a custodian that allows you to do it. Now, we use First Trust. And actually, if they get a hold of you, you can send them the link to get an IRA or start an IRA with them and then transfer an existing IRA into it and then buy your crypto, set up your MetaMask. Anything you do in that environment then is not taxable.
Okay.
So if you're going to use your personal account, I would use a holding strategy on Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency. I'd buy it and hold it. I wouldn't sell it with less than a year because you're going to pay a high tax rate on it. But if you're in an IRA account or a SEP IRA or a simplified employee pension account, you have tax deferral built into that. You're not going to be taxed currently on those transactions, and then you're going to be able to remove it. It'll be taxable at that point. But once it stays in that IRA environment, you don't pay current tax on it.
Okay, that's interesting. And so hold it, get your crypto and hold it, and that works for the DeFi too.
Well, it does, but the problem is in the DeFi, it does involve on the swaps, and really what they're talking about is that stable coin is what you hold, and you borrow against it to do the DeFi transactions. And that's how you do those transactions without buying and selling them. You're just borrowing against them, leveraging them. But that becomes a problem with understanding the transactions. And, you know, the easiest thing, it kind of falls back to this. What's the easiest thing for somebody new that's looking at cryptocurrencies for the first time and says, yeah, I understand what's going on in this environment, this economy, and I just want some of my assets over in this. Open up a personal account, but don't trade it. Just hang on to it. And that's your best. Matter of fact, the best thing to do is get into some of these free programs that we have. We have one called Coin to Play that pays a very attractive Bitcoin reward that all you do is go to it every day and access it and trade and start accumulating a cryptocurrency. Now, we have one called Pi that uses your phone to mine for cryptocurrency.
Yes.
And you showed it to me, and we're doing it to where every day, as long as we log into it, doesn't cost us anything, we get additional Pi that we mine. But that's how, now think about this. I don't have a lot of knowledge of this, but I want access to it. I want to start to play in it. Well, the best thing to do is talk to Matt about Pi, and then talk to him about the free sites that we use. And that's the problem with the free sites. There's thousands of them out there.
Right.
But one of them might pay 0, and the other one might pay 10%. So you have to use someone like Matt that's tried that environment and get the ideas from him and then implement them to get involved with this cryptocurrency market.
Yes, I've got a lot of different links that I can supply for different cryptocurrencies, and I use them daily. I'm kind of enamored with them now because it's like a big game. You know, you're generating cryptocurrency pretty much for free and watching, you know, what it's doing. So they're all going up. I haven't seen any crash yet. So,
No, and you showed me a few, and that was my first foray into this market, is these free sites. And I've accumulated, hundreds of dollars, so to speak. But
mhm.
for the time, I'm just kind of playing with it. But then I noticed this Bitcoin in one of them. I'm actually mining for free Bitcoin or fauceting for free Bitcoin. And I started to look into Bitcoin. And now, personally, if it's up to me and not my wife, I'll have all my available assets in Bitcoin. I just don't want them in an environment that I could get a phone call that says, "Hey, we failed." Hey, this is what I was going to mention earlier. If we have 33 trillion in debt and another 3 trillion in debt, another 33 billion being added to that if they agree to send it over to the Ukraine, which I hope they don't. I don't mind the Ukraine, but I don't think we should fund them to a debt situation in our country. Uh, Now I lost that train of thought. So back to our questions
Okay.
here.
Okay. So it looks to me like DeFi has a pretty amazing potential to revolutionize the world. Countless DeFi projects have come to the fore, harnessing the power of DeFi to offer innovative solutions to real life challenges that users face in the space. Despite extensive market research and numerous innovations, this rapidly expanding ecosystem is still far from unlocking the true potential of this next generation financial technology. And, it's changing like cryptocurrency about every day. So, one of my questions is what are a couple of popular projects that are using DeFi technology today?
Well, the biggest one, 90% of the DeFi market is done through the Ethereum blockchain. Ethereum is the heart of the great majority of DeFi products on the market. Other blockchains are currently viable for such activities. While understanding what is DeFi, you may come across projects clearly on other platforms. Despite this, Ethereum continues to be a clear leader.
Yeah, there's a lot of uh, different currencies coming off of it. I guess Shiba is one of the cryptos that runs on Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
And so the next one, I guess, would be Solana DeFi, okay, with over 423 projects now established on the platform, and I believe that number's higher now, some of which are fundamental DeFi initiatives for the future. The Solana ecosystem is likewise expanding in its own right. For example, the move of projects like the FTX exchange and the USDC stablecoin to the Solana blockchain, as well as the introduction of NFTs on Solana, non-fungible tokens is what NFT is, which can offer substantially lower minting and trading fees, are all part of the blockchain.
Yeah, Cardano has a DeFi system. It's a system that generates rapid, flexible, and long-term growth that enables every Cardano project to be both inexpensive and fast, as well as to grow without any issues. Unlike Ethereum, where people have issues with fees, or BCS, which people have issues with centralization, Cardano's blockchain provides one of the greatest foundations for any project creators, from finance apps to gaming to many other applications.
Now, here's something that's kind of anti-crypto in a way. Um, you don't hear about everybody wants to get into cryptos and use it and make money at it. But here is Wikipedia, which I'm sure you're all familiar with online, will no longer accept cryptocurrency donations. And the Wikipedia community just successfully pushed back against cryptocurrency. On Sunday, the nonprofit Wikipedia Foundation, which owns and operates Wikipedia, announced that it would no longer accept cryptocurrency donations. And the decision was made after a 3 month discussion period that followed after a request to stop accepting crypto was made from the wiki community. So the community itself got together and said they didn't want to do it anymore. Um, Wikipedia said it would close its account with BitPay, the crypto payment service provider, which they use to collect cryptocurrency donations. So that's a little bit different. I thought I'd bring that up. The owner of, the head guy there at Wikipedia Foundation said, I'm really happy that the foundation listened to the community's wishes on this issue, and I'm really proud of my community for taking a principled stand. So that's kind of opposite of what everybody wants to hear these days. So just a little segue into Wikipedia. Okay, now I'd asked this question before, and I thought I would go ahead and see if we could update it a little. With all the things that we've talked about today, about DeFi and Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, how soon do you think that the whole world will adopt a decentralized financial system?
Oh, Matt, who can tell? But I think in the next 5 to 10 years, more adoption will truly be worldwide. There will be numerous blockchains interconnected with each other, and each will have a number of innovative financial instruments. New stablecoin units of account will emerge, not necessarily pegged to the US dollar. There will be means to exchange and accept those units to account. Communities around the world will enjoy the benefits of security, privacy, and decentralization offered by blockchain technologies. I read this week, Costa Rica. Vendors in Costa Rica, you have to have a credit card machine, and you bring it in, and you have to process the credit card. Take 3 or 4 days to get it credited back, and 3 or 4 people get paid on the transaction, and it just goes on. Well, they have another way. Bring in your Chromebook and clear those 2 beers that you're buying with Bitcoin. And what they're finding is most of the vendors are leaving their credit card machines at home, and they're just bringing in their Chromebooks and transacting all of their transactions on the blockchain, on the Bitcoin blockchain. So I plan on vacationing out there one day and take my Bitcoin and see if I can just make the whole week spending it instead of my credit cards. And I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. Is it's going to be adopted worldwide. You're going to be able to go to places and just use your Bitcoin wallet, not your credit card. The transactions are lightning fast. The fees are very low, and people are going to be driven to using these Bitcoins as a more day-to-day transaction.
Well, all I can say is let's charter a plane and get our friends on there and head for Costa Rica.
Let's do our next meeting in Costa Rica.
There you go. Yeah, we could do it right on the internet. Now, I want to spit out our tip of the day today. If you're new to investing, you can consider using a robo-advisors. I've been hearing a lot about robo-advisors because they provide automated investing services. You have to program the robot, though, to the parameters that you want, and so you have to know a little bit about it there. So some have no account minimum. You enter your goals at your risk tolerance. Then an algorithm picks investments for you based on your inputs. So you need to keep your eye on that one too, because if he thinks that he wants to keep buying and it's the wrong time, could be a problem. So that is about it for our show today. That wraps it all up. We hope you enjoyed our new show, and we'd like you to tune in next week when we continue to explore the world of cryptocurrency. So listeners, have a great week, and remember, don't take any wooden DeFi. See you later.